Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Frame Live. My name is Dottie and as y'all all know, I don't do much without my sidekick, Orly. Hi, Orly.
How's it going? I'm here.
It's going great. We have a great show. All of our shows we think are great because we have wonderful guests with us. But today, when you make a purchase, when you buy anything for that matter, you really need to know how to use whatever it is you bought. Because if you don't know how to use it, you're not going to be able to maximize what it is that you bought it for, right? And so we're really excited today. We have Jonathan Chalkley as our guest. Jonathan is the Training Services Manager at QubicaAMF. Good afternoon, Jonathan. Welcome to Beyond the Frame.
Thank you, Dottie and Orly.
It's very nice to have you, Jonathan. We have, it's back to school time, right? All the kids are going back to school, and we're hearing a lot about education and all that. Well, education also overflows into the centers, right? We have to make sure that we're constantly keeping up. There's all sorts of new technology, there's all sorts of trends that are going on that makes it easier for you to do your job, right? Well, it's no different than the products, QubicaAMF products, right? You need to continually learn what you can to be able to utilize that product. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. But Jonathan, before we get started, we want to ask you right off the bat, how did you get in the bowling industry?
I started my career in the bowling industry back in the early 2000s, working at a bowling center in Richmond, Virginia. Worked there for about 5 years, a little less than 5 years, and climbed up the ladder to pretty much a general manager. Once there was an opening over at AMF at the time, right before the merger with Cubica, I took a position in their technical support department. I worked there about 8 to 10 years before coming on board in about 2014 in the training department. Been working in the training department probably since 2014, with just taking over as a trainer and then just taking over the training department as the manager in August of last year.
Wonderful. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your role as the training services manager? It sounds like, you're coordinating training and sounds like a pretty chaotic role from time to time. So tell us a little bit about what you do as the training services manager.
So there's quite a few things I do as the training services manager. First and foremost, I have a team of about 18 trainers that travel the United States and to U.S. military bases abroad to deliver training on site, along with doing online training. So I work with the team to ensure their skill sets are up to date, ensure that they have the product knowledge they need, and also ensure that jobs get fit with the appropriate trainer, so that we ensure customer success with our products.
Absolutely. I know Orly and I have talked about this several times. Orly got trained by one of your trainers, and it was a great experience for him. And it was really, it did a lot of things for him. So one of the things that I would like to understand is, what does proper training do for your center? What are the benefits of making sure that you're trained adequately?
Proper training ensures that your business can be quite successful. If you don't know how to operate the product that you purchased, and you're just trying to thumb by, odds are you're not giving the guests that great experience in their center. So having proper training allows you to not only utilize the product, but take full advantage of the product, as our product is quite robust.
I want to mention something, Dottie, what you said about, having one of the trainers come in and train where I was at before working with you. Yeah, they make a huge impact. Like by the time they're leaving, and I'm sure this happens a lot, and I actually have a example of it, but when it was time for the person to leave, I don't know if I should say their name because we don't want them to get a big head. It's like You basically want to say like, can we hire you? Because you know everything. We want to keep you here. We don't want to let you go. And I was speaking with a customer the other day that literally said the same thing. She was like, oh, this is the person that trained us and they were so great. I want them to stay. I was asking them, is there any way you could just work for us now? Like, it does make a huge difference when these trainers come into the center.
Well, and
Yeah, we hear that.
that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to instill confidence in the customer that they have the knowledge. Jonathan and team are equipping each of these centers with the knowledge that they need to be able to deliver the service that they want with the equipment that they purchased, right? That's a mouthful. But that's ultimately, we want them to be successful. And Jonathan, your team is really the first step in doing that. You're making sure that you are preparing them with the knowledge that they need to utilize that product. And a lot of things go into that. If you and your team are doing your job in instilling the confidence and educating the customer, then ultimately they're able to do things faster. They're able to give a better experience to the customer because they know all the products that they can offer, right, for the experience. And, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know, but what do you guys think? I think it absolutely makes a difference on the mindset and the attitude of employees, because if you are standing in front of a customer and you don't know how to do something and that customer is sitting there staring at you, wanting you to take care of them, and you don't know, that's a terrible feeling. So I would think that when you are adequately trained, that your staff turnover is a lot less because you're giving them that confidence, right, to face the customer.
Correct. You're building their confidence. You're you're giving them the tools they need to be successful and operate the business and give that quality experience to the guest.
Yeah, and I've mentioned to you, Dottie, before, I've used for an example, like I was trying to fix a faucet one time. I didn't have the right tool, but I was still trying to get the job done, and it took hours. My buddy brought over the tool, fixed it in 5 minutes. And I'm like, you know, when you have the right tools, like, it goes a long way. It helps you be more confident. It's going to help your staff be more confident. You know, people are nervous at first, like, I don't know what I'm doing. But once you have that right training, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
That's right. And you know, Jonathan, one of the things that that QubicaAMF has identified early on is that people learn in different ways, right? And with different products, there are different ways of sharing that knowledge with the customer. So can you tell us a little bit about the different types of training that are available?
Yes, and you're correct. You know, a lot of people train different styles, different ways, because some people are visual learners, some have to touch it and do it and are driven by just somebody talking to them. You know, we have a lot of different training tools that we use, you know, from on-site training where we're there in front of the customer. And again, we can use quite a few methodologies there, you know, adult learning principles, best practices. Most of our trainers come from a center, so they have operational experience and we can make good operational recommendations to customers as well. For those that are getting maybe a little upgrade, you know, where it doesn't warrant us maybe being on site, we do have virtual options where we can have a trainer work one-on-one with you, or one-to-many classroom setting where we're doing a topic and maybe 5 or 6 different centers join in on it. Finally, we also do self-study material through our online learning platform, where customers ahead of their trainer coming in or ahead of their virtual training, they get access to a library of courses that we are continually building and fine-tuning so that they can go through at their own pace and actually go through the modules as if we were right there with them. That, you know, doing that kind of really sets them up for their training session or their on-site session with their trainer.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's even a blended form of learning where it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know, and I'm going to go one step further because QubicaAMF also has a massive resource library that's broken into 3 sections. And you talked a little bit about virtual training, and customers can actually sign up for that virtual training right there in the Q portal, which is where you will also find the resource library that's just packed with information. And Jonathan, I was on there this morning and I noticed that there's several classes already. I think classes are already scheduled through November, but there's some really good ones coming up. Like tomorrow, for example, there's a virtual classroom on cloud services. And then one of my favorites that's coming up again is on October 4th at 10 a.m. Central Time. It's Ask the Trainer. And that's a really good session as well. Can you tell us just a tiny bit about that, Jonathan?
Our Ask the Trainer sessions are designed to where you can come in, ask a question, even stay and listen to other questions that are asked by other centers as well. It's a great opportunity to learn a few things and maybe learn some things that you didn't know and that you can take back to your center and implement as well. So they're really good. There's no curriculum, there's no agenda. We're just there basically ready for you to come with your questions so that we can answer them and show you on screen how to do them.
And that's one of the great things I noticed when I became a customer of QubicaAMF is, you know, it's not like some businesses or some things you buy and you have to read your directions and you're just left alone. There's options to keep working with people throughout your time. You know what I mean? If you have more questions, there's a way to get answers. There's all these classes going on. There's always more learning you can do. And, you know, I've always said, don't ever stop learning something. Even if you think you're the best at it, there's always, you know, you could always learn more about something.
You know what? You're so right, Orly. And that leads me to the next point that I'd like to make. There are so many resources beyond just the training. Of course, you have your trainer, you make a connection with that trainer when they're on site. And then you have the ability to reach out to that trainer for a period of time afterwards as well. But this library, this resource library that I mentioned earlier, if you are a preferred member of CMP, you get 2 training and 2 marketing one-on-one sessions with a subject matter expert. So if you need training help of any sort or marketing help, or to be quite honest, if you need any help, period, just submit the request and somebody that has experience in whatever it is that you're looking for is going to be able to help you. So that is something also that is part of your annual preferred CMP status. And guys, we're nearing the 4th quarter here, and those things, you use it or lose it. So don't miss out. Make sure that if you are a preferred and you haven't reached out and submitted a request, you do so before your time runs out. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. And the other thing I do want to mention, Jonathan, we are all going to be a part of a master class. We have taken part with master class for our military customers in the past, but this is a master class that's going to be designed specifically for kiosk customers. And that's coming up on the 31st of October. No, this is not a trick. It really is. We are coming up on Halloween Day. Yes, we are going to have a master class, and that is going to be at 3 o'clock Eastern. I'm sorry, it is going to be in the morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. So be on the lookout for that. It will be posted in numerous places for you to look at if you are a kiosk customer. So
do we get to dress up for that one, Dottie, or should I not dress up?
Well, you know, let's talk about that. We'll have to see. It depends on what your costume is going to be. Right, Jonathan?
Sure.
You know, the other thing I want to mention is fall leagues have started. And that's a time of year where, gosh, we've all been in a center, so we know that's a time of year when kids are going back to school, leagues are hitting the floor. It's a crazy time at the center. And there's also a lot of questions that are being asked about, oh gosh, I don't remember, I've got auto scoring, I don't remember how to send it to the lanes, or hey, I have a BLS question. We are there for all of that. And you know, that's just one little scenario. So Jonathan, tell us a little bit. This year when the fall league started, we had some resources available for the customers that are actually still available, right?
That's correct. In addition to our training library where there's documents that they can download and videos that they can watch, we also hosted 2 classes on setting up a BLS league, executing it out to Conquer, and also setting up the custom league menu. We did that twice. I think we actually ended up posting one of those recordings actually on the CMP where the customers can go and watch that if they need to, if they couldn't be part of the live show.
I think those are important ones because I know there's people, there's going to be people buying centers that maybe don't have experience when it comes to doing leagues, and if you have a bowling center, if you've never did leagues, I guarantee you in your first week of being open, somebody's going to come in and say, hey, do you have leagues here? Or when do your leagues start? And you might be like, what? Wait, I know nothing about leagues. So that's definitely, that's a big one.
Yes. And those resources, and Jonathan, there's also all kinds of little how-tos, how to set things up and stuff that's in the training resources library that are great little reference things. And Orly, you and I even did a podcast on it.
Yeah, we did.
And we've got a couple that are planned for later on this year about filling holes and alternative ways to offer competitive play. But we do have one up on the in the podcast library. I believe it's episode 16 on inclusion.
Inclusion is key. Yeah, inclusion is key. So that's the Seeds of Success podcast, which is a great podcast, by the way.
Absolutely. So, there's just a lot of resources that are available. And again, our belief here at QubicaAMF is that we want to make sure that we are equipping our customers with everything they need. And part of doing that is we have prided ourselves in forming relationships with our customers because we are dedicated to them. And I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but their success is our success. And we do strive to make sure that we are setting that customer up as best as we can to make sure that they're successful. And if we've left anything out, which we're all humans and that's possible, we want to make sure that they have 5 or 6 ways to get in touch with us. They have all sorts of resources that they can go find the answer. And that's something that I think that we do so well as a company is that we are there and we do form relationships. And Orly and I have done several podcasts where we talk about the value of relationships. And this particular scenario, as the training services manager, Jonathan, I would imagine that you have plenty of scenarios that you can show how you have relationships and your trainers have relationships with the customers. You become friends, right?
Yes. Yeah, I made a lot of friends through customers when I was, out on the road training. Still to this day, get calls on different things and questions from customers. Even when I go back, I'm in the field shadowing customers, also working with some of our shadowing trainers, but also working with our customers to ensure, we're delivering a quality product, not just with training, but customer success in general. So, when I go out on the road, I work with the trainers. I still talk to the customers. We always are trying to point them to the resource library. We want to remind them that that's available, especially during busy times. They can forget that there's so many resources on there from resources from training to marketing to technical. And then, we continue to grow that library based on customer feedback. If there's something in the, a document that a trainer makes, we then take it, put it through our formatting process, and we upload it to that correct area of the resource library so that the customer can then have access to download that document. We just started launching some setup services where customers, if they're too busy to set something up in their system, like a league, or they want to change their menu or whatnot, we have services now built around that they can send a form in and we can get with them and help them do that service for them remotely to where they don't have to. And then we've also launched some new consulting services where, a lot of centers nowadays are people that have gone in and they purchased a bowling center, and then there's a lot of logistics that go behind running and the day-to-day operations of it. So, they might not have all the answers and might look to us and say, hey, how can you help us? And it may not be through the product, it may be through just general knowledge of the industry. So we have, consulting services as well. And all that can be accessed on our portal. You can fill out a form like you said earlier, Dottie, whether it be for just a training consultation all the way up to some of our setup services, consulting services, and then just downloading some of our documents.
Yes, for sure. And Jonathan, training isn't only available if you purchase a new product. So there are other opportunities. I mean, there are centers that have a complete change of key members, and they're needing, some additional training. So there's all sorts of reasons why, as we said earlier in the interview, it's important to always be looking for opportunities to give that continued education, to buy into your employees and show them that you believe in them and that you're wanting to equip them with the tools that they need to be able to do their job right. One of the things that I want to talk a little bit about right now is something that is always a challenge. Running a bowling center, we've all been there. You have so many hats that you're wearing. You've got vendors that are coming in. They're needing you to check in the liquor order. Oh, by the way, somebody just got sick and had to go home in the snack bar. You need to go work the snack bar. So sometimes our day doesn't always go as planned. So can you tell us that a few recommendations for when you are going to be going on site? What are a few things that you would recommend that a center do before y'all get there to make sure that they're getting the most out of their training that they can possibly get?
So one things we do that's a little different than just showing up and training the customer, we do a consultative call about 2 weeks before we get on site. That kind of starts the relationship building process. It also, sets some expectations on how we train. We train in small groups of key individuals, key staff members. We also are looking to kind of get an idea of how the business is run, but then also find out, what do you have planned that week we're going to be there? Because like you said, there's lots of things that can get in the way and derail training. And we don't, we always recommend, if you can have staff on hand to work and then have a couple staff on hand just dedicated to training, that's great. Obviously, coming out of the pandemic, we know that there's lots of job opportunities out there where centers are just needing employees. So, at once absentee owners are now in the business working it day to day. So, what we see in the field is we have to account for that in our time. So we end up spending a long day on site, but we're there for the customer. If they need to stop and take a break, we stop and take a break. We pick it up where they left off, and at the end of the day, before we leave, we recap to ensure that they understand the knowledge that was given to them and understand their system, so that when we leave that job, they're comfortable and they feel confident in themselves and how to run their business.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and when you are able to go into a center where they have made arrangements and they have made plans ahead of time and they've gotten somebody else to do the bank run or whatever, and you're able to stay on track, it really does help you achieve what you need to achieve in the time period that you need to achieve it, right? There's nothing worse than knowing you're running out of time and you got to try to get everything in at the last minute. Number one, it's hard on the trainer, but it's also hard on the person that's receiving that knowledge to comprehend it. So, but it's hard working in a center because we do wear many hats in that case. So Jonathan, as we start to come to a close, there's one thing that I have to ask. Actually, we're going to take that back. There's two things that I want to talk about. One, I want to ask you, what is the most unique opportunity that you have had when you were training?
Probably spending 5 days down in Cuba, locked in Guantanamo Bay on the naval base, training them. That's a interesting location. So very beautiful location, but not allowed off the base, and very restrictive as to where you can go on base.
Yes.
So fun time, great people down there. And, they really loved the bowling center. It was quite packed the whole time I was there. Another one is getting to see Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. So probably, traveling abroad, seeing our U.S. military bases and seeing how well the military uses bowling throughout all their bases and throughout all branches for recreation for their soldiers and the families there.
100%. Well, that lends itself very well for the next topic that I would like to be talking about. Training is, you do get to see a lot of different places. A trainer is, when they go on site, we have bowling centers all over the world. It doesn't matter whether it's Germany or Alaska, Canada, we're all over the place, right? In some very, very, very exciting places. And that's a topic for a whole nother day, right, Orly? But anyway, you are currently hiring both full-time and contract trainers. So listeners, if you are out there and you have knowledge of QubicaAMF products or bowling, bowling in general, and ideally Conquer experience, product experience, and you love to travel, definitely look us up. There are opportunities both as a full-time trainer and a contract trainer that the training services team are trying to fill. You can look it up on Indeed. Jonathan, are those posted any other place that you are aware of?
LinkedIn, and then in most of the bowling center magazines, we're running ads in there as well.
Okay, perfect. So if you are looking for an opportunity to utilize your bowling expertise and you're interested, definitely look into that. Also, a little side note, the marketing services team is also hiring. So that is a remote position. So again, let us know. We are always looking to grow our team with people that have the passion and the desire to help other people be the very best version of themselves and their very best center that they can possibly have. So, Jonathan, anything else?
I was gonna, and this isn't just for fun, but I want to put Jonathan on the spot a little bit, Jonathan.
Okay. Oh boy, he's gonna
so
start.
Can you share a success story of how training has impacted a facility that's received QubicaAMF training?
I know
there's a lot of them. I just want to make you think, and give your best one you got.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
I have one if he doesn't. I have one if he doesn't. So
I think one of my success stories would probably be a center I did in Tallahassee, Florida. Originally, they bought our string machines, our scoring system, and lanes, but they had used a third-party point-of-sale system. And so between my 2 trips of 10 days training them, they learned a lot about the management system and a lot about what the features are of it. And so as we closed out our second trip, they were talking to me about, we were actually talking about a topic, and then it just spurred that they wanted to swap out their point of sale system, a brand new point of sale system, and go with us. And they ended up doing that. They ended up going with us. And so, I spent quite a bit of time, another 10 days. They actually not only did they get additional training with that point of sale system, they also added more onto it, because that wouldn't have come with 10 days. So they added more training onto it. And, we spent a lot of time up front building their menu, working before we got on site, trying to understand what items they wanted on there, how they wanted their flows to their kitchen and all that. They do quite a good deal of money down there. They're very successful in what they do, really embraced our system, as well as some of our products, such as hyper bowling in their lounge area as well. So, probably one of my big success stories with a new center. And it was a new center build. Bowling was just a small portion of that family entertainment center, but really Conquer is infused throughout it as they use it as their management system and their point of sale.
Absolutely, Jonathan. I without saying any names, I know exactly who you're talking about. So I'm going to do a shout out to Neil Patel, because he has been a guest on this show and he does an outstanding job of running his center. So
yes.
He really does. So thank you for sharing that opportunity. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, not really. We got some good news on it. I know maybe you're going to talk about that. Good news on another show.
Yes. I'm just thrilled to death to share with the viewers that you want to mark your calendars now. Next Tuesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time, we have the privilege of having actor, comedian Kevin Farley, who is one of the stars in Grumpy Old Santa, a new movie that just came out on the 12th. And we are going to have him and find out what it's like being in East Texas, in a bowling center in East Texas, alongside Glenn Morshower and Gary Valentine. And they're going to do a little bowling, a little fishing, working, hating, and loving throughout this film. And we're going to get to talk to him firsthand and find out all the little secrets that are going on behind the scenes that we would love to know about. So anyway, viewers, please mark your calendar. We're really excited about it. He was very eager to be on our show and bring the story to you guys. And if you haven't seen the movie, it is available right now for purchase if you are Amazon Prime member. So go watch it. Anyway, viewers, thank you very much. Jonathan, thank you for being on the show today. And thank you for leading your team and helping these customers through a very anxious time when they're spending the money and they're worried that they're not going to know how to use it. You guys do a fantastic job of getting them through that process and helping them feel comfortable, hopefully like we've made you feel as a guest on our show today. But y'all do that on a daily basis, and y'all are the reason that they are able to utilize the products to make themselves, you know, a happier customer, more money going in their cash register. And anytime you hear that cha-ching, you know you've been successful. So thank you very much for what you and your team do for QubicaAMF, but more so for what you do for our customers. Orly, thank you very much. And you know what? Rosa was one of our viewers here today, and she gives you a thumbs up on dressing up for our master class. So you got it from the boss lady. She gave you a thumbs up. So I volunteered you to be a radio DJ. How's that?
I can do that. But then I don't get to show my face because, you know, old school radio DJs, they didn't show their face, just their voice.
Okay, well then scrap that idea. You get to be whatever then. All right. Well, Jonathan, thanks again for being our guest. It's truly been our pleasure. And viewers, we'll see you next week on Beyond the Frame Live.
Thank you, Dottie and Orly.